What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now today I have a different type of review for you guys, and it's on these right here, the Apex Pro 3.0 grip socks. And now I've been using these grip socks for about a couple weeks now, and I'm finally able to give my full review after using these. And I feel like they're a very solid sock. There's only one thing that kind of bothers me about the sock, which I will be addressing later in the video. But I feel like they are a solid option if you guys are just looking for a high quality pair of grip socks. And so we'll start talking about the grips themselves here in the socks. And this is what they're calling their Dura grip. And it's the synthetic pads like scattered all throughout the bottom of the sock. You have them all here in the forefoot, the midfoot, the heel, and running up the heel, which I really like. I really like when socks have grips along the heel just because it just adds a little bit more like grip, and like it doesn't allow your heel to move side to side or up and down. It's just, I don't know, it's just better in my opinion. So I really like that about these socks, that it does have like grips up the heel, and it's one of the reasons why I was interested in getting these, just because of those grips, and it just kind of helps prevent like slippage and like blisters in the heel. And these grips do feel pretty like grippy like in hand, but I feel like once moisture and heat is applied to them, like when your feet are starting to sweat and they heat up, that's when like they kind of activate and they just feel even grippier. Like when I finished my session and took these off, they just felt like they were gripping my inside of the boot a bit more. So it's kind of difficult to like take off, but they were easy to like put on just because I guess they weren't activated yet, even though they do feel kind of grippy like in hand. But once like heat and moisture, like your foot is sweating, they kind of just activate and they feel even grippier, which is a really good thing in my opinion. And so these grips are excellent. They do work, and you guys can see they kind of are on the thin side. Hopefully, there we go. You guys can see they are thin, and so you don't really feel these grips like on the bottom of your feet. And I feel like with like silicone grips, you kind of do feel it underneath your foot, but with these, you don't really feel it. They feel fine. And one thing that kind of surprised me about these socks, based on how much they kind of cost, is that they actually don't have any like internal grips. Like you guys can see, it is like no internal grips. And I was kind of just bothered a little that they didn't have internal grips, just because I feel like with higher end socks, you kind of just see that, and it just like keeps your sock kind of secure on your feet so it doesn't move around. But actually, these really don't move around on your feet, and that's because of their exo frame here. You guys can see it outlined here, um, here in the bottom, and then the heel. And so this is kind of more of a compressed knit, and so it kind of like stretches, but then it compresses, and so it does a really good job of just holding your foot. Like the sock doesn't move around your foot at all. Like once it's on, like it kind of feels like, I guess, tight, but not in an uncomfortable way. And so because of this extra frame, it just does a really good job of like giving you a proper fit. And I can see why there's no need for like internal grips, just because of that exo frame. Like it doesn't allow this sock to move around. Now the sock itself is pretty high quality. It feels pretty good. The bottom, it isn't overly padded, and it's not like overly thick, but it's not like super thin. So I guess it's a good thing. I prefer like a thinner sock, and these kind of lean towards being a little bit too thick for my liking, but they're not too bad. Like I'll still wear them, but if they had like a thinner version of the sock, that would be fantastic. Just because I like a sock with no padding whatsoever. So for me, like I don't mind it being like a little bit like cushion here in the bottom, but I do prefer like a thinner sock. You do get a good amount of padding here in the toes, and here on the top of the sock, it is kind of like this open mesh that is a little bit thinner, and so this sock is pretty breathable. Up the tube, this kind of does feel a little bit more like compressed, and it just like hugs like that ankle part of your foot, and it feels pretty nice. It doesn't move around, it doesn't slide down whatsoever, and so they feel pretty solid. So I really like that about these, and it just feels like a nice like compressed material, and it's a very high quality like knit. It just feels great. Now there's only one thing that does bother me about the sock, and it's the sizing. Like I am a size 9 US, and these are one size fits all, which I honestly don't really like when companies do that with their socks, just because I feel like sizes do help with getting a better fit. And when I do wear these, like they fit okay, but I do have a little bit of like dead space here in this part of my toes, and I do have to like pull the sock just to eliminate that like dead space that I have right here on the outside of my toes. I feel like that kind of just moves like the fit of the sock lower, and so I feel like my heel, like this part of the heel, kind of like slides up, and so like it's not the best fit, but I feel like it's good enough, like moving it down a little. And when I did do my like first impressions of the sock on Instagram, the company actually did reach out and did like reply, and they did tell me that they're working on getting like more sizes for the socks, and so we're gonna have different sizes, which hopefully that does fix like that like extra bit of material here. And I feel like when those do come out, I will get another pair and let you guys know. I'll update you on like the fit. But yeah, that's the only thing that would change about the sock is like that fit, and maybe just making them a little bit thinner or having another like thin version of these socks would be fantastic. These will run you about like $40 US. They are on the expensive side of grip socks, but in my opinion, they're kind of worth it just because it does feel high quality. The grips will work really well, and once they get their sizing right, I feel like the fit is amazing, and so I think it's worth it. And this is like my second pair. My first pair are a little bit dirty, but you guys can see these are pretty clean, and there's no wear and tear in these. But yeah, they are really high quality, and I feel like they do last quite a bit. So that's it for my review on the Apex Pro 3.0 grip sock. If you guys do have any questions on this grip sock, let me know in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer them. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you're notified for future videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.